At exactly 2:13 a.m., the sound came again. 3 slow knocks. Not loud, not desperate, just steady enough to wake someone who was already sleeping with half an eye open. Inside a small 2-bedroom apartment in Surulere, 34-year-old Chinedu Okofor sat upright on his mattress, his heart suddenly pounding. He looked at the wall clock. 2:13 a.m. Again, 3 knocks. His wife, Amaka, held his arm tightly. "Who knocks like that by this time?" she whispered. Their 7-year-old daughter, Somto, turned in sleep beside them. The rain outside had not stopped for over 2 hours. Power had gone off since midnight, and only the weak battery lamp on the table gave the room a faint yellow glow. Then a voice came from outside. "Brother Chinedu, please, open the door." The voice was female, weak, familiar. Chinedu froze. He knew that voice. But that was impossible, because the person whose voice he was hearing had disappeared 6 months ago, without a trace, without telling anyone, without even collecting the last salary she was owed. He stood slowly. Amaka shook her head immediately. "Don't open it." But the voice came again. "Please, before they find me." This time, Chinedu moved fast. He opened the door. "What documents?" Chinedu asked quietly. Kemi looked at him. "The hospital file." Now Chinedu became confused. "What hospital?" And that was when Kemi began to speak. 6 months earlier, she had taken a temporary job as a records assistant in a private hospital in Lekki. The salary was better than the printing press. The work looked simple. But after 2 months, she noticed something strange. Poor patients were dying too often, especially those without relatives nearby, and their files would disappear by morning. One evening, she accidentally saw a name she knew, a bus driver from her street. Healthy enough when admitted, dead by dawn. But what shocked her most was that his original diagnosis had been changed overnight. She copied the file secretly. That was when problems started. One doctor warned her to stop asking questions. Another staff member told her quietly, "If you value your life, forget what you saw." But Kemi did not stop, because one of the patients was her cousin, a 19-year-old girl who came in with simple malaria and never returned home. "So I kept copies," Kemi whispered. "Every file, every signature, every altered date." Chinedu looked at her carefully. "And now, they know I have them." Amaka's face tightened. "Where are the copies?" Kemi slowly touched her waist. Inside her wrapper, a waterproof nylon tied beneath. Before anyone could speak again, another sound came. This time outside, a vehicle stopping. All 3 froze, then footsteps. Slow, measured, and then 3 knocks again, this time harder. Amaka immediately picked Somto and carried her to the inner room. Chinedu whispered, "Don't make any sound." Kemi's breathing became louder. The knock returned. A male voice now said, "Open the door. We know she entered here." Chinedu's chest tightened. He had never been inside police trouble, never owed dangerous people. Never imagined that on an ordinary Thursday night, his house would suddenly become the hiding place for someone carrying evidence powerful people wanted erased. He looked at Kemi. Her eyes were already wet. "If they take me," she whispered, "please give this file to my mother in Ibadan." But Chinedu did something nobody expected. He stood up, walked toward the door, and said, "No one is taking anybody tonight." Outside, rain hit the zinc roofs harder. Inside, fear sat in every corner. Yet, something stronger had entered that room, a decision. Because sometimes, compassion is not soft. Sometimes, compassion is dangerous. Sometimes, doing what is right costs peace. And Chinedu, A man who had spent most of his life avoiding trouble was about to discover what integrity truly demands when fear is standing at your door. He reached the door handle. The knock came again, harder. "Open now." Chinedu opened. Two men stood outside, one in black raincoat, one holding an umbrella. Neither looked like police. The taller one smiled faintly. "We are looking for our sister." Chinedu replied calmly. "No woman entered here." The shorter one looked beyond him. "Are you sure?" Before Chinedu answered, lightning flashed, and in that brief light, he noticed something under the tall man's jacket, a gun. What happened next would decide not. Don't make tonight harder than it should be. Then something happened neither side expected. From across the narrow street, a motorcycle suddenly sped through the rain, splashing muddy water across both men. The shorter man cursed immediately. That tiny distraction gave Chinedu 1 second. 1 second was enough. He slammed the door hard, turned the key, pushed the metal bolt down, and dragged the small wooden shoe rack behind it. Immediately, the men outside began banging. "Open that door!" The first blow shook the frame. Amaka rushed forward. "What do we do now?" she whispered sharply. Kemi untied the waterproof nylon from her waist with trembling fingers. Inside was a brown envelope, soaked only at the edges. She handed it to Chinedu. "If anything happens, don't let them take this." He looked at the envelope. Inside were photocopies, handwritten notes, and one flash drive. Outside, the banging grew louder. Then suddenly it stopped. That silence felt worse than the noise, because silence meant they were thinking. And dangerous people thinking outside your door at 2 a.m. is never good. Then Chinedu heard another sound. His phone vibrating. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. A female voice came low and urgent. "Do not open the door. They are not alone." "Who is this?" Chinedu asked. "I am the one on the bike. Check your back window now." The line cut immediately. Chinedu moved carefully to the kitchen window and lifted the curtain slightly. At the back fence, a slim young woman wearing a dispatch rider jacket stood under the rain, waving urgently. He recognized her face after a few seconds. Ngozi, the pharmacy attendant from that same hospital Kemi once mentioned. Before he could react, Ngozi whispered loudly, "They have another man." The room became still. Even Kemi looked up sharply. Ngozi continued, "They changed his file too. Asthma became sudden heart failure overnight." Now everything connected. This was bigger than one person, bigger than one hospital mistake. This was deliberate. And for the first time, Chinedu understood why people were ready to chase a woman through midnight rain for paper copies. The front lock gave a loud crack, half broken. Only one more hit and the door would open. Ngozi whispered fast, "There is one way out. My bike is at the next street, but only 2 people can move fast now." Amaka looked at Chinedu. That look carried fear, trust, and a painful question. Who goes? Because someone had to stay. Someone had to delay whoever was coming in. Kemi immediately shook her head. "No, I brought this trouble. I'll leave alone." But Chinedu surprised everyone again. He handed the envelope to Amaka. "No, you take Somto and go with Ngozi." Amaka stared at him. "No. If they search here and find nothing, they may leave." "You know that's not true," she replied. And she was right. Everyone knew it. The second hit broke the upper hinge. The door bent inward. A hand appeared through the opening. At that exact moment, the entire building suddenly became bright. Power returned. Full electricity. The bulb flashed alive. And in that instant, everyone saw everything clearly. Kemi's bleeding hand, the cracked door, the fear on Somto's face, the envelope in Amaka's hand, and Chinedu standing between danger and his family. Then a voice came from outside, not from the 2 men. A new voice, older, authoritative. "Step back from that door." Silence. Then one of the men outside said, "Sir, she is inside." The older voice replied, "I said step back." Through the broken opening, a new figure appeared, an elderly man in native attire, soaked in rain, holding no weapon. Kemi gasped immediately.
Dr. Afolayan Adewale, the same senior consultant whose signature appeared repeatedly on altered files, the same man she believed was behind everything. He looked older than she remembered, tired. His voice came calm. Kemi, if you do not leave this house now, innocent people will pay for what others have done. Nobody moved. Then he said something that stunned everyone. I did not call them here. I came to stop them. The tall man outside protested immediately. Sir, management said she must return the drive. Dr. Afolayan turned sharply. Management has already started destroying records. By morning, the doctor answered without pride. Because last week, my own daughter entered that same hospital and almost became another number. No one spoke. That one sentence carried regret heavier than explanation. Sometimes integrity arrives late, but when it arrives, it still costs something. From the street corner came sirens, not loud, but close, very close. The tall man and shorter man exchanged looks. Their confidence changed immediately. Dr. Afolayan stepped aside. Back exit, now. This time, nobody argued. Ngozi led Amaka first, Somto wrapped in cloth, Kemi behind them. Chinedu paused, looked once at the damaged door, then at Dr. Afolayan. You? The doctor smiled sadly. I have delayed truth for too long. As they moved into the wet darkness behind the compound, sirens grew louder. But another danger remained hidden, because the person who betrayed Kemi 6 months ago had not yet appeared. And that person was already waiting at the next junction, holding a phone, watching Ngozi's motorcycle approach. Meanwhile, inside the compound, Dr. Afolayan sat quietly on the broken chair near the door as the first police vehicle arrived. He already knew that before sunrise, names would start dropping. People would deny knowing him. Files would vanish. Phones would disappear. And maybe by morning, he too would become another convenient silence. But what none of them knew was this. Inside the flash drive was one video file nobody had opened yet. A video recorded accidentally. A video that showed a face powerful enough to shake half of Lagos. And the person in that video was someone Chinedu had seen before, very recently, very close to home. The motorcycle cut through the wet roads of early morning Lagos like a shadow. Ngozi drove fast. Amaka sat behind her, holding Somto tightly against her chest. Kemi sat at the far back, one hand gripping the side rail, the other pressing against her injured palm. Chinedu followed in a yellow tricycle. They stopped at the next junction, constantly looking behind to be sure no vehicle was tracking them. The rain had reduced, but the road still reflected streetlights like broken glass. Nobody spoke for nearly 10 minutes. Fear had a way of silencing even urgent questions. At last, Ngozi turned into a narrow street near Yaba and stopped in front of an old one-story building painted pale blue. My aunt lives here, she said. Nobody will check here before morning. They entered quietly. The woman inside, Mama Buse, asked no questions after seeing blood on Kemi's hand. Some people in life understand danger without needing explanation. Within minutes, towels appeared, dry clothes came out, and hot water was placed on the small dining table. But even inside that temporary safety, nobody truly relaxed, because the brown envelope still sat on the table, and inside it, the flash drive waited. By 4:12 a.m., Chinedu finally borrowed a laptop from Ngozi's cousin upstairs. The room became silent again. Even Somto, now half asleep on a mat, seemed to sense that whatever they were about to see mattered. Kemi sat close. Her face looked exhausted, but her eyes remained fixed on the screen. Chinedu inserted the flash drive. 3 folders appeared. Folder 1, patient files. Folder 2, transfer records. Folder 3, night ward video. The third folder had no date,
Only one short file, exactly 6 minutes, 18 seconds. Chinedu clicked it. The video opened shakily. At first, it looked like accidental footage. Someone had probably left a phone recording inside a nurse station. The angle was poor, the room dim, no voices clear. But after a few seconds, 2 figures entered. One nurse, one man in white medical coat. The nurse handed over a file. The man signed something quickly. Then he turned slightly toward camera light, and Chinedu froze because he knew that face. Not from hospital, not from television, not from newspaper. Personally, very personally. Amaka leaned forward. Then she too whispered, no, it was Dr. Femi Balogun, their landlord's younger brother.
The same polished doctor who came every December to distribute rice in the compound and greet everyone with warm smiles. The same man who had once treated Somto for fever free of charge. The same man everyone called generous. Kemi looked shattered. No, he was kind to everyone. Ngozi shook her head slowly. Kind people also hide things. But the real shock had not yet happened, because after Dr. Femi signed the file, another person entered frame, only partly visible. Expensive wristwatch, dark suit, phone pressed to ear. Then the face turned, and this time Kemi stood up immediately because she recognized him faster than anyone else. The commissioner. The room went cold. A state official, a man seen often on television speaking about healthcare reform, a man praised publicly. And there he was, inside a hospital records room at 1:17 a.m. Nobody spoke until the video ended. Then Mama Bose, who had been pretending not to watch, quietly said, "This thing can kill people." And everyone knew she meant them, because evidence stops being paper once power is involved. It becomes danger, immediate danger. Kemi sat down slowly. I copied files because of deaths, but I never opened that video. Chinedu looked at her. So who recorded it? Ngozi answered. One nurse named Esther. She disappeared 2 weeks later. Silence. Ordinary breathing sound loud. Then Amaka asked the question nobody had yet said. What do we do now? Outside, dawn was beginning. Call to prayer rose faintly from a nearby mosque. Somewhere, buses had started moving. Bread sellers would soon open shops. Normal Lagos morning was beginning, while their own world had changed completely. Chinedu stared at the screen. Then his phone vibrated again. Unknown number. Same number from earlier. He answered carefully. The voice this time was male. Low. Controlled. Do not trust Dr. Afoloyan. Everyone looked at him. Who is this? Chinedu asked. The reply came instantly. If he truly wanted truth, he would have spoken years ago. Then the caller added something chilling. He gave them your new location 20 minutes ago. The line went dead. Ngozi rushed to the window immediately. A black SUV had just entered the street. Slowly. Too slowly for coincidence. Amaka stood up. No. Kemi looked pale again. They found us already? Chinedu checked the door. No second exit. Only kitchen back passage leading to another compound wall. Mama Bose spoke quietly. There is a ladder behind the kitchen. The black SUV stopped fully outside. Doors opened. 2 men stepped down. Then a third. And when the third man removed his cap, Chinedu recognized him instantly. It was Dr. Afoloyan Adewale. But this time he was not alone. And he did not look like a man bringing help. Inside the room, trust broke in half. Ngozi whispered, I knew it. Kemi's voice trembled. He sold us, but before panic fully took over, something unexpected happened. Dr. Afolayan raised both hands outside and shouted, Run through the back now! They forced me to lead them here! At that exact second, one of the men beside him pointed a gun at him and fired. The sound exploded through the morning. Amaka screamed. Somto woke crying. Dr. Afolayan fell beside the gutter. The street erupted. Neighbors opened doors. Women shouted. One trader dropped her basin of tomatoes. And in that confusion, Chinedu grabbed the laptop, the flash drive, and the envelope. Back now! They ran through the kitchen. Mama Bose pushed the ladder against the rear wall herself. Ngozi climbed first. Amaka passed Somto up. Kemi struggled because of her injured hand. Then Chinedu heard footsteps entering the front room. Close, very close. A male voice shouted, "Search every room!" As Chinedu pushed Kemi upward, the laptop nearly slipped. He caught it just in time. Then he climbed last. But as he reached the top wall, he heard one sentence from inside the house that froze him. "Leave the woman! Bring Chinedu alive!" Not Kemi, not the files, him! Which meant this had become bigger than evidence. Somebody now wanted him personally. And only one person outside hospital knew he was involved. Someone close enough to know his full name. Someone close enough to betray him directly. They landed inside the next compound and ran through a narrow alley that opened toward the main road. Cars were already moving. Morning had fully arrived. Yet danger had followed daylight, because betrayal now had a face, and Chinedu was about to discover that the person who sold his name was someone he had trusted inside his own compound for years. To be continued.